light's gold. A fragile truce, a story to be told. The meat is flowing, the meat is on the bone, but every smile here is a seed of doubt that's sown. They call it a peace, this feast of kings and lords, but the silent battles fought with glances, not with swords. We sit at the table with our bitter knowing grins. The true war's just beginning, and this is where it begins. Let out the mead, a toast to what is new, a brittle promise that we'll all see through. They boast of conquest in the battles they have won, but the real test starts when the feast is finally done. We raise our horns in a deceptive silent praise for all the hidden battles of these fleeting stolen days. This is not for glory, it's a silent bitter game, where trust is fragile and the stakes are all the same. Sits watching with a cold and practiced stare. He sees the hunger and the hatred in the air. He knows the words we speak are just a fleeting lie. He reads the silent treason in each single knowing eye. We are rivals feasting, but we are prisoners too, bound by the old traditions of false and fragile glue. Each hand that's shaken is a blade beneath the cloak, a truth that's whispered, a bitter vicious joke. Blood oath and mead, a toast to what is new, a brittle promise that we'll all see through. They boast of conquest in the battles they have won, but the real test starts when the feast is finally done. We raise our horns in a deceptive silent praise for all the hidden battles of these fleeting stolen days. This is not for glory, it's a silent bitter game, where trust is fragile and the stakes are all the same. The music and the song, they do not hear the vengeance that has festered for so long. They see the unity, the fragile, hopeful dream. They cannot see the current, the silent, raging stream of old betrayals and the future battles planned. The lies we tell with mead cups in our hand. Blood, oath, and mead, a toast to what is new, a brittle promise that we'll all see through. They boast of conquest in the battles they have won, but the real test starts when the feast is finally done. We raise our horns in a deceptive silent praise for all the hidden battles of these fleeting stolen days. This is not for glory, it's a silent bitter game, where trust is fragile and the stakes are all the same. That silent bitter game, where the stakes are all the same.
The fjord winds whisper, a breath of frozen stone. Two men stand ready, but not with blade or bone. They call this a contest, a clash of cutting art. My words are honed and sharpened, straight to the heart. Your verses, Eric, they flow like silver streams, but mine are jagged mountains, shattering your dreams. You weave a tapestry of light and gentle grace. I paint a battlefield on a warrior's face. I'll break your cadence, I'll tear your to burning coal beneath a winter sky. You speak of honor, of kings and peaceful lands. I speak of hungry mouths and broken bloody hands. I see the scouts with their poetic gilded chains. I break them open to wash away the stains. My words are not for glory, they are a protest cry, to show the world the living truth behind the lie. I'll break your cadence, I'll tear your rhymes apart. My saga's written in a vengeful ancient chart. With every cutting phrase, I'm drawing lines in ice. Your gentle legends are the fool's own paradise. This is a reckoning of wit, a silent verbal war, where intellect's a weapon and the crowd just begs for more. My tongue's a hammer, my voice a thunderclap. I'll leave your empty silence feel the bitter sting, but they don't see the weary songs I sing. For every cutting word I've had to hone, a truth was born of sorrow and of being all alone. They hear the insult, the fury of my art, but don't hear the broken pieces of my weary heart. I'll break your cadence, I'll tear your rhymes apart. My saga's written in a vengeful ancient chart. With every cutting phrase, I'm drawing lines in ice. Your gentle legends are the fool's own paradise. This is a reckoning of wit, a silent verbal war, where intellect's a weapon and the crowd just begs for more. My tongue's a hammer, my voice a thunderclap. I'll leave your empty silence in your empty silence. Dust in my throat and a shield in my hand. Guthrum's gaze across this blood-soaked land. The Wessex line, a wall of wood and steel. Praying to a God whose power isn't real. My brothers stand beside me, a sea of dread for every fallen king. A prayer is said, but their faith is a fire, a burning flame, a different breed, they don't know our name. I've tasted victory, a feast of blood, but this tide feels different.
tail built to lash.
Their faces are grim, their eyes are wild like a mother protecting her only child. They fight for a cross, a foreign creed. We fight for the ground where our fathers bleed. The air is thick, a blanket of fear. The gods of war are standing so near. A prayer on my lips, not to the Christian God, but to the old ways, the soil and the sun. A legacy of iron, a hammer and stone, a warrior's purpose, all on his own. The reckoning is here, the final clash, a moment of fury, a thunderous crash. Shield wall, a Saxon cry for their king. They are ready to die. This is the end of an ancient world, a new destiny brutally unfurled. At Eddington, the balance will break for Odin's glory and for their sake. In their eyes, a land of churches and Christian lies. We came for glory, for gold and for fame, but we're just a whisper, an ancient name. They fought with faith, a power unknown, a shield wall built on a spiritual throne. This land is theirs now, a bit of truth, the end of my legend, the death of my youth.
Forgive us. Forgive us. The tide took me from Lindisfarne shore to a land of iron and the echoes of war. They took my freedom, they took my name, but my hands remember an ancient flame. They saw a woman, a prize to be claimed, but I saw a wound that needed to be named. I learned their secrets, their healing grace, in a monastery, a holy place. The monks owed herbs, the prayers they would say, I mixed with the magic of a different way. For Saxon warrior and Viking son, the healing of Freya, for all and for one. My small cottage stands in the middle of all. An island of mercy for those who fall. Cottage of mercy, a sacred ground where no enemy can be found. The blood of both sides, it runs the same, extinguishing wars, bitter flame. My hands are the bridge in this world of hate, a healer's purpose, sealed by faith, crying to mercy and for something. A Saxon lies here, his gut torn and deep. A Viking curses his promises to keep. I cleanse the wound, I sew the skin. The healing starts from deep within. They look at me with fear and surprise, to see a woman with such weary eyes. I tell them stories of gods and men, of a different world and a brand new end. They see not a foe, but a helping hand, a small treaty in this war-torn land. In my small cottage, the fighting's done. My magic works till the rising sun. For a moment they're brothers, united by need. A fragile humanity, a hopeful seed. Cottage of mercy, for sacred grounds where no enemy turn be found. The blood of both
They fear what they don't understand, the truth we hold in this broken land. The warrior's pride, the monk's belief, all surrender to a shared grief. We're rewriting history with every stitch, healing the wounds in a world so rich. So let them talk, let them condemn. My healing is an ancient, sacred hymn.
The winds of war have quieted down, but the echoes still whisper in this English town. You were the shield and I was the storm, two fires burning, keeping each other warm. They say love is a battlefield's folly, a Saxon queen and a Viking's melancholy. I saw your strength in the face of the foe, a different kind of fury, a silent glow. They call me enemy, a foreign hand, but I saw your soul in this wounded land. Your cunning mind, a sword so keen, the warrior's heart of a Mercian queen. This fragile truce, a whispered name, a shared burden, a secret flame. Massive treaty not written in stone, but forged in the silence when we were all alone. A Viking's heart for a Saxon's hand, a sacred promise across this land. We broke the chains of blood and hate to find a future sealed by fate.
They spit my name like it's a curse, and you defend me for better or worse. The lords and priests, they whisper and stare at the Viking king who dares to care. I remember the day we first met on the edge of the battle, blood-soaked and wet. I saw no queen, no royal plea, just a soul as wild and free as me. Our love, a bridge that spans the divide, a common purpose with nowhere to hide. We fight the raiders, the ones we both know, the common enemy, a silent blow. Our love's a secret, a quiet fight, a single candle in a lonely night.
A Viking's heart for a Saxon's hand, a sacred promise across this land. We broke the chains of blood and hate to find a future sealed by fate.
They fear what they don't understand, the truth we hold in this broken land. Your crown of gold, my iron chain, bound by a purpose to ease the pain. We're rewriting history with every glance, giving this world a fight on stage. So let them talk, let them condemn. Our love's a fortress, a sacred gem. My queen, my love.
The waves turn black, the sky turned to gray. A warning from the depths to turn back. They say our long ship groaned and the timbers they screamed. A nightmare risen from a sailor's bad dream. Ahead like a mountain, a serpent of fear. The Jormungandr's warning for all to hear. Its scales of granite, its eyes burning red. A prophecy whispered a tale of the dead. Brady stood forward, her face grim and set. A fury like thunder that no one forgets. She raised her axe high with a warrior stare, defying the creature that lived in the air. Oh, the serpent's warning, a myth turned to flesh, a monster's fury, a fatal dark mesh. But we stood our ground with a shield and a spear, refusing to bow to the whispers of fear. We stared down the legend, we spat in its face, a Viking defiance in this untamed place. The Jormungandr roared, a thunderous sound, but Brady stood firm on this sacred ground. Our courage, a weapon, a shield and a sword, a Viking's honor eternally stood. She knew not the fear that lived in our bones. She stood as a queen on her wild, watery thrones. Her defiance, a beacon, a light in the gloom, a silent protest against a terrible doom. The serpent's eyes wavered, the beast felt her wrath. A woman of fire on a dangerous path. It retreated, it vanished, a ghost in the foam. A warning unheeded, we were far from our home. The myth became real, a legend of old, a story of courage and then let we talk. a shield and a spear, refusing to bow to the whispers of fear. We stared down the legend, we spat in its face, a Viking defiance in this untamed place. The Jormungandr roared, a thunderous sound, but Brady stood firm on this sacred ground. Our courage, a weapon, a shield and a sword, the Vikings' honor eternally stored. They say it was folly, they say it was mad to stare at a serpent and be so glad. But some battles aren't fought with a blade, but with a will that will never fade. Freydis' spirit, a lesson to learn, a fire in our souls that will always burn. We carry that fire, that anger, that will to stand in the face of what's strange and is now. The serpents assemble, a protest unsaid against all the fear that lives in our head. Serpent, it retreated. We stayed. We stayed. Turn black, the sky turned to gray, a warning from the depths to turn back. They say our longship groaned and the timbers they screamed, a nightmare risen from a sailor's bad dream. A head like a mountain, a serpent of fear, the Jormungandr's warning for all to hear. Its scales of granite, its eyes burning red, a prophecy whispered a tale of the dead. But Freydis stood forward, her face grim and sad, a fury like thunder that no one forgets. She raised her axe high with a warrior stare, defying the creature that lived in the air. Oh, the serpent's warning, a myth turned to flesh, a monster's fury, a fatal dark mesh. But we stood our ground with a shield and a spear, refusing to bow to the whispers of fear. We stared down the legend, we spat in its face, a Viking defiance in this untamed place. The Jormungandr roared a thunderous sound, but Brady stood firm on this sacred ground. Our courage, a weapon, a shield and a sword, a Viking's honor eternally stored. She knew not the fear that lived in our bones,
She stood as a queen on her wild, watery thrones. Her defiance a beacon, a light in the gloom, a silent protest against a terrible doom. The serpent's eyes wavered, the beast felt her wrath. A woman of fire on a dangerous path. It retreated, it vanished, a ghost in the foam. A warning unheeded, we were far from our home. The myth became real, a legend of old, a story of courage in Vinland we told. The serpent's more in hits and aggress, a monster's fury, a fatal dark mesh. But we stood our ground with a shield and a spear, refusing to bow to the whispers of fear. We stared down the legend, we spat in its face, a Viking defiance in this untamed place. The Yarmungandr roared a thunderous sound, but Brady stood firm on this sacred ground. Our courage a weapon, a shield and a sword, a Viking's honor eternally stored. They say it was folly, they say it was mad to stare at a serpent and be so glad. But some battles aren't fought with the blade, but with a will that will never fade. Freydis a spirit, a lesson to learn, a fire in our souls that will always burn. We carry that fire, that anger, that will, to stand in the face of what's strange and is still. The serpent's a symbol, a protest unsaid, against all the fear that lives in our head. A tribute, a king's last plea, but I see a new kind of victory. They beg and they plead with their heads bowed low, a river of gold where the blood should flow. They fear my axe, they fear my sword, but my greatest weapon is their own word. The Dana Guild whispers a silent tale that their mighty shields and their prayers all fail. I'll take their silver and their golden chains, leaving nothing but their broken remains. No need for slaughter, no need for the blade, a bloodless conquest, a game well played. They know. Plunder
to come. A new sun rising, a different drum. My brothers stare with doubt in their eyes. They long for the battle beneath these skies. They call me soft, a king of greed, but I'm planting a new and a better seed. Why fight for glory when gold can be won? A kingdom of coin beneath the sun. I see their armies with their spears held high, ready to fight, ready to die. But I just smile and hold out my hand, the master of this conquered land. The Saxon kings, they call me a thief, but I'm a conqueror, a king of their grief. Dang it!
I see the fear in their watery eyes, a heavy tribute, a soul's demise. They gave me their wealth, but they lost their pride, a part of their spirit buried inside. I'm a king of plunder, a ruler of dread, a ghost in their waking, a voice in their head. The future is golden, a new kind of fight, and I'll rule this world with my money and might. All is mine.
The sagas were stories told around the fire of a land of green, a heart's deep desire. They spoke of the west, where the sun finally fell, a place of new promise, a story to tell. The world thought it ended at the edge of the foam, but we knew the truth, a new kind of home. We sailed the dark ocean, through storms and through rain, and showed the old world there was more to gain. We came and we went, a ghost in the breeze, a silent promise to bring a world to its knees. Our voyages were whispers, a secret so grand, the knowledge of a new, unknown land. Oh, the sea dog soul, a spirit so free, a Viking legacy for all to see. We were the first, the original brave, who showed the world
untrue in this new ancient land. The trailblazers' courage, a silent fierce plea, a protest against what the world wants to see. Centuries later, the tales came alive. The knowledge we left, it started to thrive. A man named Columbus, a sailor of pride. He didn't know the sagas, but he had our guide. The spirit of exploration, a fire so true, a protest against what the old world knew. We were the seeds planted so long ago, a legacy of courage, the truth we would sow. The world was much larger than they had believed, a truth that the Vikings had already conceived. Oh, the sea dog soul, a spirit so free, a Viking legacy for all to see. We were the first, the original brave, who showed the world there was more than the grave. The sagas were whispers, a legend so grand, a forgotten truth in this new ancient land. The trailblazers' courage, a silent fierce plea, a protest against what the world wants to see. They say we failed, that our time was too brief, a simple delusion, a sign of our grief. But we left a mark on the soul of the brave, a spirit that no single person could ever save. We showed the explorers with a whisper and a plea that there was no end to the vast open sea. The world was a circle, a journey so grand, a story of courage in this new ancient land. The moon hung a lantern on the cold dark sea, a spectral longship for all to see. Its sails were of cobweb, its hull made of bone, a ghostly procession on a watery throne. They say it's the cruise of a man named Lee, forever searching for a moment of peace. They sail for a kingdom did not find, a journey of courage, a race left behind. The phantom on the ocean, a haunting refrain, a story of sorrow, a whisper of pain, a lost Viking ghost on a cold, endless road, searching for shores they can never call home. Oh, the ghost ship blues, a curse on the deep, a solemn promise that we've gotta keep. We are the shadows, the lost and the brave, a crew of the damned on a watery grave. They say we're just legends, a sailor's bad dream, but we are the river, we are the stream. We are the echoes of a journey so grand, a silent promise to this new ancient land. The fishermen see us at the edge of the light, a warning of fall in the dark of the night. They hear our soft whispers, a song of the cold, a story of a journey that's never been told. We came for a kingdom, a new kind of life, but found only sorrow and endless cold strife. We are a reminder, a lesson for all, that a brave journey's end is not always a fall. We are the ghosts of a history unknown, a haunting that lives in the wind and the foam. Oh, the ghost ship blues, a curse on the deep, a solemn promise that we've gotta keep. We are the shadows, the lost and the brave, a crew of the damned on a watery grave. They say we're just legends, a sailor's bad dream, but we are the river, we are the stream. We are the echoes of a journey so grand, a silent promise to this new ancient land. They say we should rest, that our time has passed, but a lost soul's journey is made to last. We are a lesson, a story of pain, a ghost in the wind, a whisper in the rain. We'll sail these waters for all of our days, lost in the fog, lost in the haze, a warning to those who follow our lead, a story of sorrow, a Viking's last deed.
They say a sea is a blessing, a gift of ancient sight, but they don't see the sorrow that's waiting in the night. They see the future, a glimpse of what's to be, but I see the past, the chains that bind and free. The old one taught me to read the falling bird, to find the omens in the unsaid, hidden word, to brew the potions from the roots and from the stone, to stand with the norns, to walk a path alone. I am the veil walker, the keeper of the truth, a heavy burden on my shoulders from my youth. They come for answers, for their fortune and their fate, but I see the causes, the sorrow and the hate. My hands can heal, but my eyes can see the pain, the coming ruin, the endless falling rain. I'm not a hero, just a bridge to what they fear. The painful, bitter future that I hold so clear. The cauldron's boiling, a mirror of the time, the ancient language, a sacred lonely rhyme. I speak with shadows, the spirits of the dead. I read the future in the tangled bloody thread. They see the magic, they see the ancient lore, but they don't see the sorrow that I must hold in store. I carry secrets, the burdens of my race, a heavy shadow on my weary, youthful face. I am the veil walker, the keeper of the truth, a heavy burden on my shoulders from my youth. They come for answers, for their fortune and their fate, but I see the causes, the sorrow and the hate. My hands can heal, but my eyes can see the pain, the coming ruin, the endless falling rain. I'm not a hero, just a bridge to what they fear. The painful, bitter future that I hold so clear. They speak of honor and the glory that they seek. They do not hear the knowledge of the humble and the weak. They see a healer, a guide to what's to come, but they don't see the pain that leaves a seer numb. I can't change the path, I can only watch it unfold. A lonely future with a story to be told. I am the veil walker, the keeper of the truth, a heavy burden on my shoulders from my youth. They come for answers, for their fortune and their fate, but I see the causes, the sorrow and the hate. My hands can heal, but my eyes can see the pain, the coming ruin, the endless falling rain. I'm not a hero, just a bridge to what they fear. The painful, bitter future that I hold so clear. A painful, bitter future. I am the veil walker, and I walk alone. They call me a guest, a guarantee of peace. My silence is a weapon, a cold and slow release. I sit at their table and I smile at their jokes. I listen to their wisdom, their subtle hidden pokes. They teach me their customs, their tongue and their old tales. They see a boy but they miss the storm that sails. Inside my skull a silent deadly war, preparing for the day I walk back out the door. The viper in the hall, learning the weakness that will make their empire fall. I'm a quiet shadow, a spy in their own home. I'll bring the secrets back across
across the ocean foam. They pour the meat and they sing their empty songs, but I know the truth of where their weakness belongs. My honor's a mask, my heart is like the stone. I'm a living weapon and I'm walking all alone. I train with their warriors, I learn their every move. I see the cracks in the armor, they approve. Their son, he trusts me, he shows me all his pride. He tells me where the weakness and the deep dark secrets hide. He thinks a friend is what he found in me. A fool who thinks that change will set a prisoner free. But every lesson that I learn from their deceit is one more step on my path to bittersweet defeat. I am the hostage, the viper in the hall, learning the weakness that will make their empire fall. I'm a quiet shadow, a spy in their own home. I'll bring their secrets back across the ocean foam. They pour the mead and they sing their empty songs, but I know the truth of where their weakness belongs. My honor's a mask, my heart is like the stone. I'm a living weapon and I'm walking all alone. They see the boy who laughs and plays the game. They do not see the fire, the cold and righteous flame. They see the peace, the treaty held so fast, but I see a betrayal, a vengeance that will last. For every night I lie in their own bed, I count the secrets that will leave their people dead.